Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Run Home Podcast, where I am your GD host, Zubaz, and I am here once again with the first guest, probably the last guest, not now, but someday far, far in the future after everything is done. His name is Citizen Clone. You can call him Clone. You can call him whatever you want. Welcome to the Run Home Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back. I'm in kind of a wiry mood, so I figured we'd just start recording and see where it goes. We got a couple things to do, but we're going to take our time.
I was the first guest on the old podcast.
Brian
was the first guest on this podcast. I want to make sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were first guest on Threads of Time. You were the most guests on Spinning Logic because you were there 6 times, and then and then you weren't the first guest here. You're going downhill is what I'm trying to say. You went from first guest to most guest to just guest.
Yeah, and then at the end it will be you televising us breaking up forever.
All right. Yep. So what we were talking before we got started. We do have a bit of an announcement to make today. We can do that whenever you're ready, but we're going to turn this into just a podcast as well. So we're just going to make all these poor saps listen to us catch up while they're waiting for the podcast or for the announcement. So maybe we could front load it or mid load it. What do you want to do?
They don't know that you were on your deathbed just like a few hours ago. That how lucky we are that you're here.
Yep. I held off for multiple years on getting COVID. I started thinking that like potentially I couldn't get it. Which, like I was like, maybe I'm gonna be the guy in the movie, like where they extract your DNA and realize that you're immune to it, and then your DNA becomes the savior of the universe.
Did you think that 24 hours before you got it?
No, it wasn't that recent. But I did make some comments in the not so long past where I was like, man, I've been coming into work and going out in public, and in Texas, we got rid of masks really early on, and I never got it. And I was like, I don't know. But also,
it's not real.
Yeah, maybe it's not real. They just wanted to get that microchip in me, which they got it in. I always thought that was a funny argument because it was always like, what the fuck do people want? Like, what would they do? He's sitting on his dick again. Well, we know that though, because he has a microchip in him.
Yep. But you're doing better?
Yeah. You know, that I still have a little bit of a headache. All of you listening, because really? That's the only thing that worries me. Is that I first started feeling weird. I got a headache. My eyes were burning a little bit, but that's about it initially. And then started getting stuff here. You can still hear it a little bit actually, or at least I could feel it a little bit. But I haven't heard people talk about COVID with a headache. And I had it all the way through, started feeling better like Tuesday of last week or whatever, still have a headache now. But it was like blistering for like that Saturday and Sunday. It was like that thing where I see people that get migraines have to put their head between the pillows and have the lights off. And like, I don't know if it was a migraine, but I had that for about a day and a half. But even now, it's just like a little bit like right here, like behind my eye. I don't know. I just figured it's sinuses.
No, it's probably a different virus that you got. Probably a different disease.
I have rickets.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
I know you're doing all right. I'm doing fine, man.
You got COVID? Right? You got COVID?
I had COVID in May. I survived.
That's what I actually think it is that I didn't get it because I don't have a bunch of germ boxes running around my house like people with families do. Everybody gets each other sick quick.
I was also thinking, man, everybody else had it, but I haven't had it, and then it came down. So
because your whole family got it at the same. Oh no, they didn't all get it at the same time.
No, we got it within a week, but it's definitely the jinx power. in the same way that the clutch rating determines it. It's as soon as you think that you're safe is when your receptors become available to them.
Actually, kind of a segue where you talk about clutch rating, which I'm still convinced is real. I was telling some people in one of the leagues I'm in redraft, that I've never looked at the source code. And that is 100% true, mostly because I wouldn't understand what I was looking at, but also because I don't want to know the magician's trick either. Like, I enjoy playing. I like keeping all that opaque. But the conversation was around like whether or not, bringing in the right field porch and putting out the left field porch and getting a bunch of left-handed hitters was a valuable tactic, or if it just gets evened out. And I was thinking about that, like that's a question we've been asking since like 2005. And I still don't know what the answer is. And I was glad I didn't know what the answer was, because I was directly in the middle of that conversation. I don't want to be the guy where I'm like, I can't tell you.
I know really, exactly the information.
Yeah. I was just like, no, I don't know. Here's what my thoughts are on it.
And I wondered about that because I have access to stuff I never had access before. And I thought, oh man, kid in a candy store, but I'm not that far ahead of you. Like I never dig in, or I thought, I don't know if it's laziness or if it's whatever, but yeah, I just want to be able to play. And I'm sure that, I ask Brian or Mike questions and show my obliviousness sometimes. Haven't you been digging in there?
Well, I was talking to Hardy one day on the phone, and we were talking about like, at one point he wanted to build a CSFBL of his own, and where you start getting stuck as you figure like, how deep am I actually going to go into the physics of this whole thing? Because if you start thinking about the pitch speed and the exit velocity off the bat and the trajectory and the weather and the size of the stadium, it's like some of those things are important to just get the base game going. Other things take you down like this stack of dominoes where you'll just never get done. So at some point you have to level some things out.
I haven't told you about this, but Jelly and I are in the midst of a Stratomatic romance. Oh yeah. So we had played a while back, and then we hadn't played, but now we're playing a bunch again. And we finally came to the realization that we could play asynchronous, where we could just text each other as stuff happens. So not having to get up together at the same time makes it work so much better. But we were digging into the rules.
Sorry,
you have to trust each other that you're not going to screw around. But then it's so and so is up. What do you want to do with him? And then curse about the guy and how much we don't like him, but let it go. But there's so many rules. Like they've got the basic, advanced, super special, secret, advanced. And when I was reading the recent rule set, I was like, I don't want to deal with all this shit. And Jelly was all excited about it, but then he dragged me in, and it got exciting. But like earlier today, he was angry that it wasn't factoring in from Fenway when Ricky Henderson catches the ball in left field and is trying to throw out Ty Cobb at home, that it's not factoring in Fenway's wall. And he was trying, like, we needed to write another more advanced level.
He needs to add to it. Wait, is that your team, or is that his team? He has Ricky Henderson. I pick up. You draft individual players. You're not just going off the full team cards. Like you're not taking. Yeah. Oh, although that's even more fun.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, that's going to be a good segue into this, because
I mean, picking your
thing
team
we're about to announce. I was actually testing out some of the draft stuff, and we picked a bunch of players. We had a draft that was fun, and I was immediately, as soon as we were done, I was like, oh, I did fucking terrible. Can we just say you won and start over and redraft? There you go. Back to redraft.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to announce this because, but just a quick segue is we just had our redraft draft, and I love that so much. It's like buying a whole set of lottery tickets. Like, even though you know what the odds are, there's still so much hope wrapped up into these things, and you're already spending your Powerball money. Well, like when I got done with that draft, I did something I had never done before, and I went real pitching and defense as opposed to, discipline and slugging, and just try and go all Earl Weaver about it. And which has come up a lot lately is Earl Weaver baseball. And I got done and I started looking at the team, and I just started salivating, like, oh, I'm gonna do great. And then everybody's predicting I'm gonna finish last. So fuck it.
Whatever you're saying, you haven't done this before, but I will say every single draft we ever had, you stopped and said, this is my best team ever. I might not lose a game.
I was going to go 160-0 one year. We were talking about the team you put together in 2064 that broke every record in history. You had 3 guys over 60 home runs, 1 guy over 80. It was Affy, Garcia, Nick,
I think that was
whatever. Yeah, we won't bore everybody with that.
Before people had figured stuff out.
Yeah, you figured it out. That's because you're the GOAT. But the draft itself is so exciting. And so, like we've talked about, I think the last time we were talking about this, that was a big unlock for both of us of like where we should start developing parts of this game. Is like, people want to have that fun in that draft and be able to pick players and play the game in different ways. And so now that we're done with a lot of the cleaning out the closet stuff, we're closing in on being able to start at least the minimum viable product version of what is going to be one of the first things we roll out.
I hear your dog getting excited about this idea too.
No, she's choking on her own spit.
Oh, never mind.
She's a chihuahua. She does that.
I feel the same way. It's the whole idea, and I think is that on top of, we've got this game, we've got this engine that Brian built that's awesome, that we've built on. But from years ago, everybody's been figuring out different ways to try to play on top of it. And we have, I've got 100 different ways in my mind of without messing with any of that core game that Brian's made that we can play. And so that leads into this, which is kind of cranking that up and introducing a new game format that's hopefully the first of many.
Spit it out. What's it called?
Yeah. Well,
I like the name.
So you like line?
I love it.
We're calling it the lineup lockdown. So I think that's okay. We need to talk about that. Oh, you need to sing it, by the way. It's supposed to be.
It's Jar the lineup lockdown. Ba-da-da-da.
There you go. That was Jar's suggestion to sing it. But you can do it throughout. You can play it. If you put it on the podcast, you're going to get a copyright warning, and then we're going.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then you're going to argue with me that we should have copyright. Okay. But the more generic version, right, is a shared player pool roster game. So the lineup lockdown is this version, which is everybody is working from the same group of players. Everybody can have the same guys, but then once you set your team for the season, it gets locked down. You lock in your lineup, but then you lock down your team. You got to set it for the rest of the season. You can't touch it.
Just got to run with it.
Set it and forget it. And that was part of what set it up. So yeah. There's 8 different places I want to go into this, but one of the many things that put this in my mind originally was Brian had set up, when we were doing testing, setting up games to play 24 games a day, right? And we figured out pretty early, like, oh, this is awesome, but there's absolutely no way.
Completely unmanageable.
Yeah, completely unmanageable.
I thought it was going to be amazing. I actually thought we were going to be able to offer a 20. It was going to become everybody's favorite. Yeah. It is mind-numbingly painful to watch because you can't do anything. It's just too much.
You did, yeah. If you set up an IV or whatever else. But But yeah, it's too fast. It's too fast to actively manage, but it's nice for getting results, right?
Yep.
So that kind of led to that of like, how can we use that? And thinking about that as a format. So that was this. And then I had been thinking for a long time about being able to do. Actually, let me go to another tangent here. Our fantasy football league that you and I are in. For the longest time, I thought about how we can get Joe Klein back to the game.
Oh, right.
So that's something that goes in my mind forever. So long time owner, great guy, but he got busy, just like everybody gets busy, and it's too much of a time commitment, and it's hard to get him back. So I've always been thinking about ways that we can get people like that back, where they can hop in and hop out without having to commit so much
For
time.
almost a full year, you've said, we need to figure out how to get Joke back. And when you were saying it, you weren't meaning just Joke. You were talking about all the people that have leaked out the sides because life gets busy. And like, how do we create options for people that are in that situation to still be part of the community?
Yep.
Yeah.
So in this situation, so we've got and we'll show it off a little bit, but so this is going to be a shared pool of players. Everybody can pick their best roster. There's some restrictions, but not much. Like you can only pick like 2 people from the first round. It goes through the rounds. And you got to pick 11 pitchers, 14 batters, just like a regular team. Other than that, you have the freedom to make the dumbest team that you want, the best team you want. You can do it however you want. And you make your picks. You obsess over it how much you want, but then you're locked in. Once we've got everybody's entries, we're going to randomize them. We're going to make the leagues and put people in them. And then everybody will have, I don't know, a week, a few days, whatever, to set their lineup, set their depth charts, set the manager settings, set everything for the season. Then we're taking the teams back, and then we're going to run the league 24 games a day. And it's going to be done, it's going to take a week. But your commitment is over. Theoretically, hopefully you're still going to pay attention to how you did, and if you did a bad job, that's fine.
And just to be clear, because I think people might be asking themselves, shared pool of players doesn't mean that once a player's drafted, they're drafted. Anybody can pick this player. And so it'll be the first time in CSFBL history where some players are on multiple teams.
Yep. Not a draft. Yeah, we shouldn't even call it a draft.
Right. Yeah.
Theoretically, everybody can pick the exact same guy. Hopefully we did a good enough job with the setup of the game that we're not going to have a ton of easy choices. And people are going to have, I've been getting advice from people. I've been getting people tinkering with it. I don't think anybody's seen the final version, but Rent was helping me out along the way. Jelly was helping me out along the way. There's a ton of people that have been contributing to this.
The best thing about what you guys have created is that this is a game for people that love to build teams. Like, I just think that's the thing, is that people will really get out of it. Is so often when you're drafting, even in redraft, you're building a team, but this one really, well, can I bring it up on screen or not yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you can. Because as you're doing that, in redraft, you got the problem of you gotta think about when your draft, just like fantasy, you gotta think about when your draft picks coming around and who you're gonna get. In this situation, and it might be enough freedom to drive you crazy, but you've got access to everybody.
Right. It's drafting without worrying about the other teams in the thing. You're essentially like daily fantasy. You're going to be able to pick your own team and build your own team. Let me see if I can bring this up here.
Yeah, it's a lot like that, except for they actually get together on a team and play. So,
what's going on here? Well, probably should have practiced this before. It's saying that I don't have.
Theoretically, any moment now, you're going to share.
No, you're going to need to talk for a little bit longer than that, because it's saying
single-page application that Adam made for us, which Adam Adam was willing to have me talk about him, but he didn't actually want to come on here. So, but in terms of being able to submit the lineups, that's another thing that we've worked on is Adam, our UI specialist, worked up a submission form that kind of gives another taste of things that we're able to do. What's happening on that side?
Well, it's asking me to leave the meeting. That seems extreme. Hang
All right,
on.
we don't need to show it. We don't need to show it. People will see it.
I think I got it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm the best, and that's a fact. I got more Zoom moves than X-Lax. All right.
So you have it. I don't think you've looked at this, and I don't think you're aware, but so presumably we're not going to have exactly
Hang on,
a number of entries that's divisible by 24 exactly. So you don't know that we've written in that you're gonna be involved in this, and you're gonna make an entry that's gonna be like the house entry in every league.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and maybe Brian and Hardy and I will do the same thing.
I'll do it for sure.
It's gonna be beat Zubas. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I was thinking about that with Tournament of Champions last year. I regret not playing in it. Like if I wouldn't have won, but even if I won, who cares? Let me just win. I want a ring. I want a chance at a ring.
Now that we got the first one done, it feels different. But no,
okay.
If you would have won the first one, it would have just been like they just made up this contest that they were going to cheat and
stroke my ego.
All right, actually, that would have been hilarious if we just kept. How many years could we have had you win before people would have? Anyway.
Okay, so now I want everybody
go looking.
I want everybody to keep in mind that we are trying to put this together more quickly instead of like going super deep with it, because we want to run this through, learn how everybody's using it, and then make improvements, and then do it again, make improvements, do it again. Yep. And so really the growth of this is going to be based on the feedback that we get from this. Yep.
And that's part of, you should announce right now, or maybe I'm announcing it for you. We were going to put a little prize on this to thank everybody for helping us in our alpha phase. $100 to the winner.
$1,000, 100,000. What?
Oh,
100. 100.
That's up to you, man.
I'm just kidding.
It's your $100. I don't have that. $100 to whoever wins this contest.
$100.
Awesome. All right.
$100 for whoever wins it.
All right, so go looking. So
okay,
there's so it's 20. You're gonna pick 25 players out of 100 players total, and then you see the restrictions there of how many players you could pick per round.
I just want everybody to notice how beautiful our .NET abilities are, because we couldn't do this shit in ASP Classic. Look at that drop down accordion drop. I love it. This is the type of stuff that's coming now. Now that we can do UI interface stuff, which we couldn't do before. I appreciate everybody being patient with us. Accordion drop down. All right.
Yep. No, it's true.
All right.
So you can pick 2 of these players. Anyway, it's got the restrictions of who you can pick.
Now,
these are not real players.
Will you just? Sorry, I totally interrupted you. I'm just excited. No. Like, can you just talk through when people get to this? Their strategy here is that there's 8 rounds.
Yep.
And do they have to get so many position players, so many pitchers?
Yep, 11 pitchers, just like 11 pitchers, 14 position players, just like a regular team.
Just want to make sure we got that out there. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, it's a basic format to some extent. You're going to get excited about the Jimmy Seymour name because that's a famous name.
He's a famous
PCL, but this is not Jimmy Seymour.
That's why I clicked on him, but he's not the right pick. This guy's the right pick, Stephen Ryan.
So let's look at this guy. So this is going to be part of the challenge too, right? Is that you're setting this for the whole season? Yeah. Look at his endurance.
Yeah. No.
So you're going to have. I'm assuming endurance is going to be at a premium for.
I would think
not being able to touch your team.
Yep.
All right. Are you making your picks live here?
Oh, is this? Wait. If I do this, is this actually my card?
No, you have to submit it, but
okay. No, I'll submit it.
You can have some time, but if you go digging through, hopefully we've given you a bunch of somewhat tough choices, right? Of like, if you look at let's see, who's the best bat in there?
Oh, sorry.
You look at
This guy, Bill Perez.
yeah, best bat and
but best defense.
questionable whether he can even play in the field. Yeah. So he's probably a DH, but who knows? Versus, some guys that are valuable.
See, you did make this tough because I can make an argument for most of these guys.
That's the hope, and that's what Jelly and Rent and Mike and everybody have been helping me, because I didn't want to have any very obvious choices, but I'm sure that.
So is this the official list of guys?
This is maybe the list of guys.
Okay, so I shouldn't give too many thoughts here.
You're worried that your picks are going to be so
well, I just know that I'm a genius at this. Chad Pearson. Pearson.
Yeah.
I don't even know his name.
So,
all right. So,
however, everybody that's played on the site this year is going to be eligible for this one. We didn't do everybody in the world because we still got some things we need to figure out. So we didn't want it to get crazy, but everybody that's played on the site this year is eligible, and we will figure out the number of leagues once we see how many people there are. And it's going to be 2 rounds. So assuming we have enough entries to have multiple leagues, if you make the top 24, you make the final table. It's kind of like Tournament of Champions, and then we'll have a second round with a second pool of players, and we'll have a winner from there.
Now, let me ask you, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you got it.
Well, no, I'm curious how the scoring works here. Like how are points awarded for Julio Webb or Julio Webb, like having a 7.0 range at second base?
What do you mean points? You mean overall points or value?
I don't even know how this happens.
Oh man, well, yeah, we could talk about that all day. How the overalls are computed and how to. Oh, this is going to be in the free agent model too, by the way. So since that's kind of the base model now, so people might not be used to this one. So they're going to have to get used to this one. But the overalls, what?
Talk it through. I think that'll be good.
Oh, free agent model? What?
Yeah.
Free agent model different than the old model. The most extreme ratings kind of knocked down and the most useless ratings knocked up, right? So if you think range not quite as powerful as it used to be, slugging not quite as powerful as it used to be, and then contact has a little more value than it used to. I mean, people can go looking on the site to see a little bit of that data set, but it's gonna still take some adjustment.
Yeah.
But the overalls, I put the pool of players together before I had computed the overalls. I knew it was gonna be all over the place. I had my own kind of personal recipe going for overalls when we were doing this, but at some point, and I went down a rabbit hole, wormhole, whatever, black hole of trying to balance it exactly, and like I don't think you can ever balance it exactly, and I don't think you need to balance it exactly, because when you're actually picking all the different rounds is when you realize the trade-offs that you got to make, right? So if there's a guy that seems like an obvious pick in the first round, that's fine. But then when are you going to get your shortstop? When are you going to get whatever else? So the trade-offs hopefully will take care of themselves.
These are tough.
You're making your picks right here. Yeah.
Well, so we really need to get a line between overall and discipline, because my eyes keep tricking out on me. Okay. I keep looking at overall like it's discipline.
Yeah. Let me take some notes here and we could do that.
So no, I don't want. So, and the next question is, once I click on round 2, I haven't locked in my round 1. So you
can tinker as much as you need to tinker.
And the decision we made is not to accordion out all of these, so you had one big long thing, because you should be thinking one round at a time, but you can, as you're picking people, they're dropping in over here, so you're able to see how the team that you're building looks.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
you can sort pick some more players, and then you can tinker with your roster page there.
All right, let's do it.
So we all know that all you care about is arm, and you take all your arm guys. Then you can sort by arm over on the right on your roster.
All right, let's see here. Okay, I love arm.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, yep. Look at that! Look at those! Look at these animations we have here, people. Yeah. That's just stupid. That's
modern
awesome.
Day.
Yeah. It's like having a modern day website. See, now, right now, me clicking on this is turning some haters into believers. I'm telling you, it has to. It has to. We're doing real things. We can even do that.
I can. Yeah. You can just take the best players by alphabetical order.
Yep. I do it by position letter. Oh,
when I first started doing this, I thought, I knew the format that I wanted to make, but I was like, oh shit, I gotta make a submission form. And I started building something in Google Docs and which I could have made this in Google Docs, and it would have been really rigged. It would have been really rigged and stupid, but Adam stepped in and immediately knew about 100 different ways to make this work in a better way. So
look at this, man. I spent way too much time showing everybody the players in the first round. Look at how hard these decisions get down in round 8. I think even though I was happy clicking, I think I still took the right guy. Maybe, I don't know.
You can take your time with done here, but we're gonna.
You
do have to submit you're not eligible to win the money, but you're gonna submit a pick, and everybody's gonna have to try to beat you.
If I'm eligible to give the money, I'm eligible to win the money.
Yeah. This is when you're actually gonna go looking at the source code to try to figure out if you can win. And somebody was asking about this too. So you play this, you get your team. Once we have all the teams, we're gonna randomly assign everybody to leagues. We'll build out the leagues. We'll give you access to your team for a few days to make your settings and whatever. But then the top 24 by win-loss move on. So if somehow there's 6 people that have the best win-loss in your league, they move on, opposed to 2 in another league. But to try to balance that, we have a different. I build a different schedule module, which is like a balanced schedule. I shouldn't say I did, but this is something that
I know what you meant.
There's a billion different little things in here that are new, that are kind of subtle, that we had to do for this. But I think years ago, I don't know how many years ago, but I think Bashan and Brian and Dave worked out the ability to use different schedule modules, and we just hadn't done it. And at some point stumbled across that. So to make sure that everybody's not having to deal too much with the luck of who's in their division, we're using a balanced schedule for this, where you play a home and away series against everybody in your division, and a home and away series against everybody in the other league. So it's
that's good.
So it's largely balanced.
Yeah, as balanced as you could make.
As balanced as you can get.
And more balanced than anything else we've done like this. Like Tournament of Champions is balanced against drones.
Yeah,
and so right.
Yep. But we can. Yeah, but there's so many. Yeah, there's a bunch of different. I mean, when you think about all the different things that we're touching in this, we got a different schedule. We got being able to have the same player on multiple teams. We've got playing 24 a day. We've got Adam showing kind of a different interface, which is, this is all based on kind of the interface that we're hopefully working on for the game overall. So this is just giving a taste of stuff that we're able to do.
It's so people know, like I saw the basics of this before, but it wasn't far enough that I was thinking about the strategy of it. And now looking at it, I'm realizing the part that's really mind-blowing here is that, in round 1, you're picking 2 people, but in round 8 with the weakest players, you got to pick 5. And so like how you balance out your pitchers across those 8 rounds, this is like the chess of baseball.
And you're not going to be able to touch them all season.
Yeah, so, this gets tricky.
And and because of the jerks that set this up, every time you find a good pitcher, they're going to have crappy endurance. So hopefully the trade-off is going to be right. That you're going to have to make some tough choices.
Yeah. This is amazing.
And I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, I had myself third in the list of house picks. I thought you're the first house pick that'll go to each league. Hardy's next. Hardy's done a ton of work helping to make this, and then I'll make some picks. We'll see how it goes. I don't know what the right way to play it is. So Rent's gonna win. We already know that.
Yeah, Rent's gonna win for sure. He's smart. Well, I don't know though. I don't know when it comes to stuff like this. Like I just saw Cy Maddox and Slick Laptop both brilliantly draft and redraft. We got a lot of smart dudes that will eat this up. So
no, I agree.
Oh,
but the
man.
hope. So this is. Oh, you're getting choppy. Are you having internet problems?
No way. I'm on Starlink, baby. This must be you.
My kid came home a little while ago. He's probably streaming.
Yep. Watching porn.
But this is so the lineup lockdown part of this, right, is locking it down. But if you think about, this is just one format, and we can pivot 8 billion different directions from this. We can do different pools of players. We can do different season lengths. You can do different formats for drafting. There's a billion different ways we can go from this. One of the things I've told you about is I have a dream of, and this kind of came from that, but I guess Magic the Gathering, but there's a bunch of other games that have the format of draft nights where, imagine like you open a pack of players, you pick the guy you want, you pass them all to the next guy, you go through that. So we could do it that way where instead of everybody being able to pick the same players, you're having to make a choice, and then I pass them to you.
I like that. That's
through
fun.
that. You got to make some tough choices, and then we can play out the games in a bracket that night, and we could have a little. You and 7 of your friends can have a little mini tournament there in a couple hours. I think that'd be really fun.
That would be super fun. Yeah.
I would love to make that happen.
So talk me through what happens from here. We're going whenever this video goes out, I assume in the next day or so, you're going to make this active, and then talk me through the timeline of it.
Yep, we have a little bit of stuff that we're still troubleshooting there, and then as soon as it's ready, I'm announcing, and then we'll start putting out the word, and everybody will probably have about a week. We'll put out the deadline to make a submission, submit their picks. Once we see how many people we have, we'll make the leagues, we'll make the teams. You get some time to mess with your teams from there, then we'll knock it down to a round. So it'll take a little while. Hopefully there'll be some good debates about how to play this thing. And then by the time this is done, it's going to be Tournament of Champions time, man.
And Tournament of Champions
sneaking up.
Yeah, because when does that launch?
Probably end of October is when I have a deadline somewhere. When I lock in who's in it, it's gonna be time to do that. But so I'm going into contest mode here for a little while. But
this is I don't even know what I was gonna say. I'm kind of blown away by this, because one of the things that I realized when I played redraft is I understood the game probably 25% better than I did playing it the 15 years before, because you're playing in such an odd format that it was forcing some of the things that happen subtly to be more noticeable. And I have a feeling that's going to happen with this too, especially when people think about how and why to evaluate talent, both because they're seeing the outcomes, but also because it will be a great way for people to see people they respect that play the game and how they draft. So I guess I'll let you answer that question. And if you could follow up with what will players get to see about the other teams in it? Will they be able to see their picks, how they picked, etc.?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be all open.
Transparent.
Once everybody's got the teams, everybody's gonna be able to see it. We're gonna have a combined standings page so you can see where you're ranked in the whole thing, the whole time. That'll be nice. I'll try to. We'll build this thing out more, but I'll try to do some reporting because I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to who gets picked and seeing how well I did on not having consensus picks. You know, if one guy gets picked by everybody, I'll be a little irritated with myself. But maybe it'll probably happen.
So, but people won't be able to see everybody else's pick
until
it starts running.
Happen.
Yeah.
Until we have all the submissions, you're not going to be able to see. I mean, this is also going to be this is going to be a data minefield for lots of people because you're going to have the same player, right? So you can have 5 different versions of the same guy playing in big stadiums, small stadiums, with different settings, so you can see how that plays out. So that's going to be crazy. And we did do a little bit of testing, and even from that, I mean, you know, it's going to drive people crazy, but you can see there's going to be 3 different versions of Jimmy Seymour, and you're going to get the guy that hits 900 OPS. I'm going to get the guy that hits 820, and I'm going to be pissed off.
You should probably explain that more because I don't think people will they're going to think that we're all using one Jimmy Seymour.
I mean, it's copies of the same guy.
It's the same guy, but he's in.
You want me to explain randomness and luck?
Well, no, but I think the way we explain it so far, I think people probably thought they're all picking from the same pool of players, and then they're all in one league. But that's not what's happening.
No.
Everybody's going to be in their own bizarro world.
Yep. If we have 50 guys pick, we could have 30 guys pick the same guy who's trying to. Everybody's gonna be in their own bizarro world, exactly. And you could set your stadium, your lineups, your depth charts, your manager settings to maximize this puzzle, right? So I think about this. The other thing I think about is ideally we're going to make this into a weekly thing over time. That it'll be kind of a weekly challenge, a weekly puzzle. That there'll be different specs each week, and you come in and you pick your team based on those specs, and if you do a shitty job, you get a chance to restart the next week. You don't have to wait until your players develop. You don't have to wait to redraft. You don't have to tank along the way.
I love this so much. Well, I'm trying to think of questions that I think people that are listening to this are going to ask.
Yeah.
One question I have is there a disadvantage to getting 14 different catchers or 14 different right fielders?
Oh, yeah.
Or 14 shortstops?
I'm gonna let you figure that out yourself. I mean,
but you thought about it.
Out of position penalties will apply, so you're gonna have to figure that in yourself.
Yeah.
I think people. Yeah. No,
and so will they get to choose what position these people are playing?
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you can play them out of position if you want. Yep. You got the freedom. If you want to pick all catchers, you can do it. I don't know if there's 14 catchers in there. There's probably.
Yeah,
you could probably pick 10 catchers if you want.
You're doing your draft, then you're setting your lineup, then you're setting your depth chart, then you're click and go, and then you don't get to touch shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take it back over. I'll tell you the question everybody's going to ask is going to be, what about the entire rest of the game? That's the hard question that we're going to get when we're trying to, because I'm trying to, you know, we've been dealing with. We've done a bunch of tinkering with the base game and the dynasty game, and just this month, I think we're taking a breath and trying not to tinker with that, right? And trying to get kind of into the more fun stuff that we're wanting to get into. But I think that's going to be the big question.
Yeah, and I'll take that real quick because I think there's a few different angles to look at that. The first one being is that I know. Since we added the draft, we added the owners rankings, there wasn't a lot coming out. And when we look at like like the upgrade of the entire game to the new platform, that's going to take a long time, and it's going to have to happen iteratively over time, because otherwise, if we just do nothing but that, we're going to just be upgrading things that you're already dealing with. So there's been some discussion internally about, like, we have to start innovating, and because otherwise, like, people are going to feel like this is getting super stale, and that we just took some things away from the game and now we're just upgrading that thing. And this was an idea that was born from you to add something new, a new feature to the game that can be played differently than the dynastic model of the game. I think that's a really good idea because it fixes two things. First, it adds a feature where it will add some excitement, let people play the game in a different way, and make that a regular part of CSFBL. So we start stacking those things concurrently that I originally promised that we would be able to play the game a million different ways. The second thing is it's our first opportunity to code in the new language, code a new game in a new language. So I think we're learning things, and I really am the worst person to speak for this, but I think we're learning things that will translate to everything else that we do. And this was a safe place to do it, where we're not impacting the game, the dynastic part of the game. So I think it solves two pieces, but the standard dynastic model of the game is going to be running just as it is. There's not going to be any major changes to it. I think in the future, you'll start to see it look a little bit different in places, like player cards might get upgraded before I was going to say the draft page, but the draft page will probably be the first thing that gets upgraded because the look of that is pretty confusing. But that might get upgraded, and then the roster page, then the lineup page. So it might not be a full sweep, but you'll see it happen over time.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to it, and we're gonna figure it out. We're just taking a second, and it's been a long year, man.
It's been a long year, and it would have been a shame if we didn't get some new feature out this year. And this feels like the most impactful.
They've got stuff coming on the. Mike and Brian have been working. They've got a lot of flexibility in the leagues that they've been working on, that they're testing out. That's getting close. That being able to kind of blow up the division structure and change the playoff formats and all this stuff, and just being able to figure out ways to play this game and not break things, right? And we can once and they've made a ton of progress, and we're going to be able to explode this thing from there.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one thing. Is somebody asked me about this a while ago, and I equated the way that the game was designed right now is kind of like a Commodore 64. I don't mean like from an ancient perspective, but I mean from an all-in-one perspective. Like if the keyboard broke on your Commodore 64, none of it worked anymore because it was all one thing. The monitor broke, everything was dead. And so the big thing that they're working on the back end is we gotta segment and break apart these things, because one of the things that was happening is we'd make a tweak one place, and on the whole opposite side of the game, something else would break. And some of you have seen when the Sims hang or whatever, a lot of that has to do with that. But breaking it apart so that the league model doesn't affect the scheduling or the draft, or they integrate in such a way that if we go from 24 teams up to 48 or down to 2, it fixes the schedule automatically, as opposed to it just div/zeroing do not compute.
And that flexibility, I mean, just think about, I mean, we talked about it, but that's something that I've the format right now, if you're a new person coming into the site, you gotta jump into a league that's already going, or you've got to wait for 24 more people to show up to be able to start a new league. And if we can change that up, you don't have to wait as long. If we can do formats like this where you can get some satisfaction out of doing a contest in a week instead of having to wait to rebuild some junky team for 6 months or whatever.
That's
there's
true.
lots of different ways that we can go.
Yeah, this is eventually becomes a way to have a one-player game. You can do it super communally. We can do it as, in challenges and things like that. But for somebody that is just getting involved, they could just play this, initially without knowing anything or joining anybody. That's awesome.
That's the plan. The plan is that we're going to text Joke. And when Joke comes back to play this, right, he's going to get a taste. He's going to get a taste of new stuff on the site. And then it's going to be like, oh, man, I miss my buddies and I want to hang out. And we're gonna get some of those people back. That's the plan. This occasion, we're keeping it to people that play this year. Then once we've learned from this, then I'm gonna expand it out and reach out to all those old owners, and then we'll go from there. But that's alongside the stuff that Mike and Brian will work on, going back to figure out some of the stuff with the dynastic game, and hopefully this is a taste of things to come with. I'm excited to work with Adam. This has been, I think Adam can make some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is going to be the first of many that we're going to be working on.
The first sign of many to come, that's for sure. And at some point, we got to do some social hour or something around this too, because like depending on how it works out, I don't know. I'll be interested to see. But some of this could come down to the very last sim, which might be pretty interesting.
That'd be fun. And it's 24 hours. We could just do a marathon. We could do a lot. We could do a lineup lockdown lock-in where we all have to stay on for 24 hours.
Lineup lockdown lock-in. That's good. That's good. You're a marketing genius with these names, man. And we just all snort NoDoz and just go for 24 hours straight.
Yep.
I'm not encouraging drug use to the youth of America. Just to the.
So when this comes out, this is not going to come out until we're ready to go. But when this comes out, we're going to be ready to go. People can get on there, start making their teams, start submitting. They can start putting out misinformation to make sure that their friends don't use their amazing draft strategy.
So what? So this goes out. Everybody has a million questions. Where do they go ask them?
Oh, we're all going to be here. I'll have the instructions are going to be up on the wiki. They are going to have
We might have to have a forum.
I'm going to be parked on here. What?
We're going to have a forum for it.
We're going to have a forum. We'll have a forum for it.
Oh, you already got it. Yeah.
Some of that's already ready, but we'll be here. I've already got the FAQ, which nobody could have asked questions before, so it's the predicted FAQ, I guess.
I think I know. I was looking at this while we were talking. I know which shortstop's the right one to get. I'm not going to tell any of you punks. I know exactly who. If you want to beat me, you just got to play. That's it. If you beat me,
you got to not embarrass yourself here.
I am.
You got to not embarrass the company.
I am a 1%er when it comes to this game. I only get beaten. I'm like Phil Hellmuth. The only time I lose is because somebody sucked out. That's it. I'm the best.
All right, man.
All right.
I think we
this
hit
is
it
good.
all.
I'm excited, man. So this is going to go up. I hope everybody watching is excited about this. This is the first of many things, but this is the first of many things for this thing. And what I mean by that is this is going to expand on its own. So hopefully if you're willing to play, we'd really appreciate it. Really appreciate the feedback, but also you can say you were there when, because this is going to be something that we're going to use as part of our customer acquisition model in the future, and hopefully get a lot more people playing this game. So if you want to be there for the very first one, sign up. And
you're
if
not
you
want to give out $100 every time too. You should have had your crisp $100 bills. I'm sure you've got one in your pocket right now, but
they're all in the fireplace. Yeah,
you should have had that ready. But we're having this initial kickoff.
I don't have that, but I have this.
There you go.
The sound machine.
There you go.
Costs $8. All right. Thank you all very much. Clone, final thoughts, words?
Nope, that's it.
All right, that's
Good to
it.
talk to you.
All right. I would stick around, but Clone has to run home. Until next time, we are out of here. The dog's choking.